Chronic sleep loss in children and adolescents is one of the most common and easily fixable public health issues in the U.S. today. Dr. Judith Owens commented on this in response to questioning about later school start times. Early school start times have an impact on the young mind and can be either detrimental or beneficial to today's youth. Through extensive research, I have narrowed down the pros and cons of school start times later than 8 o'clock. School start times have an immense effect on children and teens, and as an adult or as an adolescent, this is a very prevalent issue. To accurately explain the pros and cons of early school start times, it is important to understand the background, which are the chemicals in the brain. So, why do teens find it difficult to wake up in the morning? The answer: chemicals in the teenage brain run on an entirely different schedule than those of an adult. Melatonin, which is a chemical that helps you to fall asleep, has a direct impact on the performance in teens. Melatonin helps you to fall asleep, stay asleep, and recharge through the night. It is also to blame for morning drowsiness in teens. As well, the melatonin schedule runs on an entirely different timetable than that of an adult's. According to the American Chemical Society, in teens, melatonin is produced 3 hours later in the 24-hour sleep cycle than in children or adults. In teens, melatonin is not effective until 10 to 12 p.m. Teens get their best sleep between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. for this reason. The CDC recommends that teens get 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night, but 2/3 of high school students claim they only get 7. Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, an advocate for school start times, said that school should start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. for students to get the right amount of sleep. Sleep schedules are hindered by early start times. Sleep deprivation causes students to underperform as well. This bill that Zoe Lofgren proposed would form a symbiotic relationship between schools and the health of their students. So, all in all, many schools start too early for teens to function properly. Melatonin, the drug which helps you to fall asleep and stay asleep, is released 3 hours later in teens than it is in adults. Therefore, Zoe Lofgren, a congresswoman, proposed a bill to help schools to be able to push back their school start times. Now, this leads us to the direct pros of pushing back school start times, which are performance, health, and safety of teens is directly related, in which this is directly related. According to a study by Teens at the Wheel, 56% of driving teens say that they have driven while feeling too tired to drive, and 1 in 10 say they have fallen asleep at the wheel completely. Students who don't get enough sleep are at risk for health issues as well. Not getting enough sleep can lead to obesity, migraines, and health risk behaviors like smoking. According to the CDC, since the 1990s, health risks have been discovered in abundance. Eating disorders, anxiety, substance abuse, mood swings, behavior problems, suicidal thoughts, and impacts on brain development have all been found. Teens with lack of sleep are also more prone to falling asleep at the wheel and in class. According to School Start Later, 33% of teens report falling asleep in school. This directly correlates to 20 to 30% of teens falling asleep in class each day. Communities with later school start times have also seen a decrease in tardiness, sleeping in class, and for car crashes. For example, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, they pushed their school back to 8:55 a.m. and have seen a 70% decrease in teen-related car crashes. Later school start times also improve test scores and attendance rates. Brookings Institute published a report on test scores and times. They claim that they found a significant increase in the scores of normal students and double those scores for disadvantaged students. As well, students with later school start times are reported to have a 15,500 lifetime gain in earnings. According to Russell Foster, PhD, sleep is the most effective cognitive enhancer we have. So, getting enough sleep is one of the most effective ways to decrease health and safety issues in teens and to increase their performance in schools. However, there are also clear-cut reasons for why schools do not start earlier. According to the National Sleep Foundation, after-school activities, bus schedules, and access to public resources are among the reasons that schools are unable to push back school start times. First, after-school activities have little time already, but if you push back the school start times later, they would have even less. The average practice runs from 4 to 6 p.m. However, on Wednesdays, that's even shorter. Pushing back school start times would drastically reduce the amount of time that students have to practice their sports. As well, many also need daylight, such as golf and even football. According to the National Sleep Foundation, many schools have a balanced bus schedule system so that it works as efficiently as possible, and if anything were to disrupt that schedule, it would have a severe impact. The second problem that we face is the cost of busing students and the probable increase with later school start times. Elementary school and high school students would have to have the same start times, but it is found that children before puberty wake up much earlier than children after puberty. As well, it would be incredibly cost inefficient for there to be two routes. Finally, there would be less access to public resources for students with later school start times. Schools would probably end too late to use resources like the library, which would drastically decrease their chances of meeting socially. As well, low-income families who rely on teens working would also have a decreased amount of time to be able to work. All in all, there are three main reasons schools can't push back school start times, which are after-school activities, bus schedules, and access to public resources. However, despite these inhibitors, there are also an abundance of pros. Sleep deprivation and loss of performance are two major side effects that early school start times have. As well, chemicals in the brain, such as melatonin, don't match up with the school start time schedules. However, bus schedules, public resources, and after-school activities are among the most prevalent reasons why schools cannot push back their start times. 20 to 30% of teens fall in school each day. This can be avoided with later school start times, but many things still stand in the way.